Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. Today, we focus a lot on generative AI. We've been in AI for 26 years, myself with 17 companies. We love unicorns. We built several of them, and we love making the world a better place. So today I'd like to introduce my incredible guest, Gina De Echeona, who is a lawyer, who is a legal and business strategist, who is an arbitrator and a mediator, and currently lives in Madrid, but originally from Latin America. So we're going to talk about strategic advantage. We're going to talk about what's happening in Spain. We're going to talk about her own experience in growing startups. With that, I'd like to bring Gina on board. Hi, Gina. How are you today?
Hi, Gary. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you today, too. So I got a question for you. I know you were telling me earlier that the temperatures, that it's really warm there. What's going on?
Well, global change. We're having a really hot summer here in Spain, like 42 degrees Celsius.
Wow. And can you go outside during the daytime when it's that hot, Gina?
Well, I was born in Barranquilla, Colombia, so I'm used to tropical climates, Caribbean climate, but I miss the beach, of course. so,
Uh-huh. So it's a little bit hot during the daytime. Do people stay in and then go out at night?
yes, usually it's that way, and a lot of air conditioning. So now energy is more valuable. So there's a lot of startup regarding energy optimization, etc. here in Europe.
Interesting. So,
Mhm.
we're talking about strategic leadership as a competitive advantage. So, what is, let's get into it a little bit. You've been, you're a lawyer. You've been involved in a number of different startups. So, if you look at it, how does strategic leadership in AI startups leverage IP for competitive advantage in different types of domains?
Well, I'm a lawyer, but I'm also an entrepreneur. So my background is like 15 years of legal and strategy advice. But then I was an entrepreneur by myself here in Europe. So I have to develop a lot of soft skills and I have to train also a lot of companies into soft skills. So this is why I combined leadership and all the soft skills with technical matters such as IP. That is my core and hard knowledge. And IP at the end is the materialization of innovation, right? So it's the way in which innovation becomes a real asset, like intangible assets, patents, trademarks, trade secrets, copyright. So it's the way to make innovation real and through the right strategy, IP strategy, you can create a portfolio, and that portfolio adds value to your company if it is well protected. And if you do licensing and if you're able to leverage your IP, so there's a lot of strategy. Not only legal protection is one thing, that is what I did when I was just a lawyer. Like law firms focus regularly just in IP protection, but they don't do business development and strategy. So since my early stage, I did law and business. I created a recording label when iTunes was just starting.
Did a
So
recording?
yes, like it was my first venture. You know,
Well,
I yes.
that's interesting. So, what kind of recording label was it?
Well, first the story is very interesting because this happened when peer to peer, BitTorrent, Napster, Kazaa. It was when iTunes one was emerging. You remember we had the MP3 players that they were competition of the iPod.
Oh
So
yeah,
it was
many. God, it seems like centuries ago now, doesn't it?
centuries ago. It was early 2000s. So I did my thesis to graduate as a lawyer on how to create a legal business model regarding music on the internet. It was when Napster crashed, when Kasa was banned due to legal issues, because it died due to legal issues, Kasa, because it was not like a legal exchange of music, right? So I combined law and business since my early times in law school. I almost couldn't graduate from law for this because my professor said that this was a business thesis, not a legal business, a legal thesis. And
Hmm.
it was a lot of technology. I researched a lot about simulcasting, webcasting, and it was 2003, you know. So I always combined like law, technology, and business. I'm a very creative person. So I took this thesis and I started doing like a recording company with a music producer. Like he had the talent and he knew the business from the artistic side, and I knew the business from the legal and the business model. But when we started doing this, like in Colombia, all of the big corporate recording companies like Warner Music, Emmy Music, they were closing their offices. They were subletting their offices, like almost like co-working spaces or something like this, because they were crashed due to the internet. They started
Oh,
feeling.
interesting.
Yeah, so I started doing like interviews to the general managers of Sony Music Latin America, all of these people like in the big industry with big egos, blah blah blah. And I asked them, okay, what will happen if instead of the CD you sell just the song? Spotify, of course, didn't exist at all, at all. And they told me that won't happen. Like, it will be the same. Just divide their 12 songs in a CD, divide it, and that's it. And I was, no, you will, if you sell it through the internet, you will take off all the intermediaries, where there's a lot of intermediaries in that industry.
Right.
And I went to the radio and I asked them, oh, what will happen when radio is on the internet? And they told me that will never happen. Like, you're crazy. We have the power to say which songs are played. So then I saw how these big industries were going from the country. So it was a very visionary, premonitory, a little bit premonitory of where the things were going. And this was the industry the first industry that was crashed or transformed because of innovation and the internet. And this is why I became a big fan of Steve Jobs, because he was able to look ahead first with the iPod, and then transform the iPod into until our iPhones, right? So that's why since those moments, I said, okay, I need to put all this knowledge into business. So we started growing the company. All the decisions were made by me, because the founder, the one who was financing the company, he was a musician. So I had like to make all the hard decisions. And we got two artists winning Grammys and Latin Grammys. So I did a lot of negotiations with advertisement companies in the US. We synchronized some songs for FIFA, for the video games in FIFA, and also for advertisement in McDonald's. So it became like a big success. And after that, I said, okay, I love law, but I love doing business based on IP, right? So I started on this. I created several of them, and that, including a TV show that I did all the fundraising.
Well, that must have been interesting.
Yes,
What kind
yes.
of TV show was it?
I talked about entrepreneurship, startup funding, legal advice, like all the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I did interviews. So the first person I interviewed was Morten Lund, who was the first Skype investor, that he was in Colombia, like because he was invited by some big entity. So I just grabbed him and it was let's do this interview. So I started into the ecosystem very early. I started interviewing people that went to big events that they were doing in Colombia. Like I remember a guy that now is very very famous in Harvard University. Tal, I don't remember his name, but he created this subject about happiness. He's very famous now in Harvard, and an expert in Internet of Things, an expert in crowdfunding, and this was 2014.
Wow.
So yes, it was like, and after that, I said, okay, I want to do something more than a TV show, and I want to be like a lawyer with an accredited master's in business. So I came to Europe to study a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation to have the official title and start here my life as an entrepreneur.
And was that Professor Arthur Brooks?
No, I will tell you, he has like Arab name. I have him on LinkedIn.
Ah, okay. Be interesting.
Talhal, happiness theory. I interviewed a lot of interesting people. You know, I have them everyone on LinkedIn, but Talhal, something.
Yeah, you have to get that. That would be interesting for my audience to take a look at. So now you don't have to do it now, but later we can send it out. So that must have been interesting talk. What did he say about that?
Tal Ben Shahar.
Tal Ben Shahar. So remember that, everybody. Tal Ben Shahar. Yes. So what did he tell you about happiness, Gina?
For me, or his theory?
When we talked to him, what did you talk about happiness?
Well, it was like the psychology behind happiness, not just like the shallow, but like the theory that happiness brings success. You know, and I am truly, I truly like took that advice into myself, because I think energy and good vibes, you know, you want to make business with people that are happy and that are resilient and that you enjoy time with. And I also remember the interview I did to Morten Lund, because he's a friend of he knows closely, or yes, they are related to Richard Branson, who is my hero. And I asked him, like, what advice or what tip do you guys have, like, to do business? And he said, like, have fun. It's good to do business with people you're able to have fun, because of course entrepreneurship is hard. You have to, it's like this. You have to survive the valley of death. But it's nice to share with people. You can talk and build each other, you know, and do teamwork. I think that's very important.
Well, teamwork is important, having fun, and then having the right kind of people around you can laugh and enjoy is really important. And so, you know, when you went over, when you came to Colombia, was it much of a shock culturally, or did it feel comfortable?
No, well, I have studied in Argentina. I have studied in Sweden. I have lived in Africa. So a little bit, I had like a global mentality. It was for me. I also live in the Netherlands, so for me that was a shocking culture. But Spain, no.
Why was the Netherlands shocking?
Well, the cultural differences there, I felt way Latin. For example, like all the time it was gray. I miss the sun 200%. And also, like, for me, like, I miss so much like the sun and being the hospitality of Latin America and all of this. So to compensate the lack of sun and the warmness like of the people, I put makeup and I was smiling, all the time like this. And people saw me like, why is she happy? What did she had? She's not seeing the climate, the weather, it's rainy. So for me, that was a little bit tough. Spain was like coming home, really. I have a heritage, like Spanish tradition from my father's side. And, Colombia was colonized by Spain. So we have like a heritage. So it was like coming home. I didn't feel any culture barrier.
Sound like you're coming home. Now, what about the weather? Now, I know you said about the climate down in Colombia, but you also said it was like 42 degrees. Like, but did you in Colombia? Do you stay away from the daytime and not walk around? Like I know when I was in Madrid, right? People were like, I was surprised to see people at nighttime walking around like it was daytime, like till 10 or 11 or 12 at night.
Well, in Colombia, usually you have more air conditioning, a lot of more air conditioning, more infrastructure
I see.
for for hotness. So even though like Barranquilla is the whole year 36 degrees the whole year, so we are in summer the whole year, but everything is with air conditioning. So and you don't walk that much as in Europe, right? So here in Europe, you're used to walk, like it's like the lifestyle, but there you're not used to walk. So you can capture the difference that way. And well, I lived in Bogota a lot of time, which is winter the whole year,
Winter?
all the year, yes, because it's in a mountain.
Really? Now, how was that after being in the near the beach? How was it living in the wintertime?
Well, I developed the sense of, and valuing the mountains and the green, So I think it was a cultural shock, even in the same country, because people from the mountain and from the coast are really different, really, really different in like as being spontaneous. So being from the coast gives you that spontaneous,
Spontaneity.
yeah, then someone who capitalized that very well was Sofia Vergara. She's from my hometown. So she captured that, that vibe or being spontaneous and funny, blah, blah, blah. And in Bogota, people are like more stuff and, direct, and which is really good for business. So I think it was a good combination at the end of the day.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, what's the startup scene now like in Spain and the region? How is it?
Well, before the pandemic, there was a lot of investment in like soft technology, like a lot of money to VCs to invest in that. But after the pandemic, like not only in Spain but in Europe in general, people are thinking more about deep technology, things that can change the future, like more social impact investment. I think there was a lot of money buried, in a lot of soft technology that after the pandemic we saw like how where the money should go, like prioritization. Yes. So the ecosystem is changing a lot. So deep technology is more into IP. So there's a more demand of technological knowledge and patents, and not only patents, but the strategy itself and how to determine when you're discovering a patent or a trade secret and which way to go. So there's a lot of things going on here, like Spain has like uh, country strategy on enforcing their ecosystem, which it's going really good.
And so, what would you advise for somebody that's interested in the Spanish market? So, where would be the best city for them to check out? Let's just say they're a startup from other parts of Europe. What city is the best?
Well, the leadership was Barcelona, right? But now Madrid is like, since the last 5 years, it's gaining a lot of power, in the ecosystem. So both of them are really interesting.
They're getting a lot of power. Interesting. And we're starting to see more startups from Spain. So if you look at it, what about so we go back to the funding. What about the funding levels? You were saying is it down now, or is it just refocused on things like generative AI?
I think it's refocused, and also it's now a lot of a combination of public and private funding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, in comparison to the US, here, like, public funding, it's very important, like on the early stage. Like, the European Commission is always supportive, blah blah blah. Like, in the US, is more like the first funding comes more from universities, right? Here is more like from the public sector. Like, European Commission distributes this funding through the countries that belong to the union. So it's a mix of public and private funding.
And so who gets the money then? Let's say the public funds it. What happens if there's success? Does it go back into the pool of the fund of the state, or how does it work?
No, some of them are for free.
Really? So why do they do it? Just to create jobs, or what's the deal?
Yes, to create jobs, and to this main aim of the European Commission of building a better world.
No, that's great. And
Yes.
so what do you do for fun over there, Gina? Because I see your pictures every once in a while with your girlfriends. But what do you do for fun?
Well, I love to do hiking, to go on a hike. I love nature, so I think it's a good way to connect with yourself and to create more ideas. I also love to go to museums. Here in Madrid, you have a lot of art. So I'm a big fan of creativity. So it's a way to incentive your creativity. And I also go to restaurants, because Madrid, every month there is a new restaurant, or like a fashionable restaurant, and places to go. So it's a really really nice city to enjoy, and basically that, and go to the gym, and regular stuff, live music, which I love also. Everything that has to do with arts, I'm there. Theater, or going to the movies, or
Oh,
regular.
that's great. What about places like Portugal? How are they? Because I start to hear about startups coming out of Portugal. What's happening there?
Well, Portugal was like in a crisis, but now they're really, really strong. A lot of startups, they have an international vision, right? There's a big difference between Portugal and Spain. Spain is very Spanish, which is really nice, but I think Portugal is way more international.
Mhm.
Just speaking about their more bilingual, right? So they Portuguese and English is like, you went on a taxi, and the taxi driver had like English music. Here in Spain, that's not that common, right? Because of the Franco dictatorship, he forbidden people to learn another language. So there's a heritage.
Really? He forbid them from learning language.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's unbelievable. That's kind of
Yeah.
spooky. That sounds dictatorial, doesn't it?
Yes, like, leaders, like, talking about leadership, the consequences of leadership. There's always a consequence in good or bad, or any decision of a leader. Let's not talk about Venezuela, but leadership, it's an issue in life. So yes, the ecosystem in Portugal is very international. It's like Lisbon and Porto. Things are moving really really good there.
No, that's great. So we're coming up to the top of the show. Closing thoughts, Gina, and how do people get a hold of you?
Well, my email is gina@emprendeconmigo.com. So every startup needs a IP strategy. IPs are the main assets in which a company early stage or growth stage is based on. So corporates know this. It's good for startups and scale ups to protect and to define a strategy to leverage their IP assets.
No, that's very good. No, I agree with you. And so, any other closing thoughts?
Let's do stuff, Gary.
Yeah, let's go. Get shit done. That's right. Let's go get shit done. Well, to all of my audience out there, I want to thank you one more time for joining GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Check out our website. We've got quite a few articles out there, and specifically dealing with startups going global. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I'll be back to you again next week for another edition of GSD Presents. Gina, thanks for your time. You're looking wonderful as ever. It's great to see you. Great talking to you. And let's keep in touch. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. And thanks for joining us one more time. Thank you.